Hello everyone, welcome to CGM, Comics Games Media. Marvel just dropped their latest show, Luke Cage, so today I'm going to be doing my spoilers review on it. So Luke Cage is a show about, Luke Cage. He just recently escaped prison and now he's trying to live a normal life with some new abilities, but unfortunately bad things happen, so now this forces Luke to become a hero even though he doesn't want to. This is one aspect of the show that I really enjoy, because you can see the hesitation between a regular guy who just wants to be a person, but he's forced to become this hero, and also it shows the repercussions of what happens to a hero when everyone knows what his identity is. Luke Cage is played by Mike Colter, who does a spectacular job just like he did in Jessica Jones. He's great at handling multiple issues, as I mentioned earlier, with the hesitation of trying to live a normal life versus being forced into this position of a hero. Another example would be him coming to handle the truth about his wife Riva. Also, in the flashback episode, him being this closed-off individual, not trusting anyone, and trying to learn to open up to Riva during his therapy sessions. So another character I want to talk about is Pops. I really like this character. He only had a short amount of time, but he's really well done in those few episodes. He provided this great mentor-like role for Luke Cage and trying to persuade him to use his abilities for good and try to help the people of Harlem. And I love his whole philosophy of having the barbershop and bring the kids inside there, keep them entertained, try to keep them off the streets and avoid the gang violence like he did back in his previous days when he was a criminal, and like how his philosophy is that everyone can be redeemed. So I gave Luke Cage a chance. So I really liked that character, and I was very emotional when he got killed in the end. Rosario Dawson is back as well as Claire Temple, help bridging the gaps between all the Netflix shows. She does an amazing job. Just her first sequence is awesome. She gets robbed by some thug, and then she just bolts after him and beats the shit out of him, and you're just like cheering, like, yeah girl, go get him. Also, she has a more prominent role in the series now. She is much more involved in the story with Luke Cage, and you find out what she's trying to do with her life after the events of Daredevil Season 2. So now I want to talk about the antagonists of the show. There's actually quite a few. My favorite by far was Cornell Stokes as Cottonmouth. He does a great job. He's very similar to Kingpin in my opinion, because he has a tragic past, and then he has a bunch of layers to him. For example, when you see later on in the later episodes, you can see that he's conflicted because he didn't really want to be this criminal crime lord. He wanted to be a musician, he wanted to follow his passion of playing music, but unfortunately the way how he grew up, he was forced to become this criminal. Also, he has a very calm demeanor when he's outside in public, the way he can talk to people and persuade them and keep a level head. However, when you see him inside the club though, he loses his shit together, and you can see his anger and frustration with his dealings with Luke Cage. Side note, I just want to put out a question there because I'm not sure what the answer is here. One of the episodes, there was a great speech delivered by Cornell and Luke at Pop's memorial, and then everyone was clapping, but from my understanding you don't really clap at memorials. So if I'm wrong, just correct me there in the comments, but I thought it was a little awkward. So another character I want to talk about is Mariah Dillard. Initially I thought this character was boring because all she was involved in was just her political matters and just transferring money to Cornell, and it didn't do anything for the story. However, in the halfway point, when she loses her shit and then she kills Cornell, that's when everything changed and caught my interest. And then she was very manipulative with all the politics and turning the public and the police against Luke Cage, which I thought was very clever, especially when you have a public hero like that. So I really enjoyed how that played out in the end. However, there were some weak antagonists of the show. One example would be Shades. I thought this character was weak. He was just a flat second-in-command type kind of character. The only exception to this was that scene where he was helping Mariah frame Luke Cage for the death of Cornell. That was the only thing I thought that was relevant to his story. And also in that transition between the villains, when you get introduced to Diamondback, aka Willis Stryker, you can see his motivations, but again, it's not as interesting, and it's just guided by simple revenge. So he's just there more as a physical threat, but he's not as interesting as a villain. So as I was mentioning though, Diamondback provides a good physical challenge though for Luke Cage. So you've seen that in the final episode when they're having that brawl in the streets. That's really awesome because, again, what I love about the Netflix shows, they're street level. they're grounded. Like in Daredevil, you see them fight in the alley. You see Luke Cage and Diamondback in the streets of Harlem. It's really great to see, and especially with the crowd shouting like Luke, Luke, Luke. However, because Luke Cage has super strength, and we don't get to see like martial arts like in Daredevil, Mike Coulter said in an interview what they call it smack fu. So you see him just like smacking people like this, dunking them on the head, which is funny to watch, and like really enjoyed the parts where he just like starts bending people's guns and like in the girl's purse, and like it is funny to watch and to see all the thugs run away. So there's a lot of great references and Easter eggs to the MCU. For example, Luke Cage gets called Power Man, the hero for hire. The flashback episode, you get to see his original outfit with the yellow shirt and the tiara, and he just like looked like a damn fool. There's a lot of connections from the MCU here, referenced Luke Cage. You get Turks from Daredevil make an appearance. You get Hammer Tech Industries from Iron Man 2 get involved in Luke Cage. They refer to the incident, they refer to the Avengers by name sometimes. And also there's a nice tie-in to Civil War, how Misty Knight was referring to how the vigilantes are untrained, that they need to be held accountable for their actions. Also the show does make some like side commentary about the events that are going on in the real world. For example, like those police shootings, unfortunately. One example would be the quote, one guy says here in the show, it's something powerful about seeing a black man that's bulletproof and not afraid. I thought it was a very powerful message, even though it's talking about a fictional character. And I like the movement of when everyone starts to wear holy sweaters to represent Luke Cage, to show that they're on his side and that the police are wrong, that he's not a criminal, he's not a cop killer. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the aspects that I love about the show is that it shows what are the consequences or the repercussions of the public knowing the identity of the hero. So you see Luke Cage, his families or his friends get hurt, his house gets destroyed, his enemies know who he is, the public and the police can easily turn against him, and like even in the end, unfortunately, he was the hero, but he is the one who got sent to prison, and all his antagonists, Mariah was free because they didn't have enough evidence, and Shades is free as well, and then even Diamondback, they're lying in a hospital most likely gonna get superpowers, and Luke Cage is the one who has to suffer. So again, I like seeing that aspect because we don't really see that with Daredevil or Jessica Jones. So overall, I thought Luke Cage was fantastic. If you're a newcomer, it's very accessible to enter. If you're a fan, you're going to get a lot of references from the comic books and the MCU. The only thing I would change or improve upon was the transition between the first half and the second half of the show, switching between the major villains, because I thought that transition was slow and a little bit boring. However, besides that though, the show was fantastic. I would highly recommend it. So, if you've seen Luke Cage, let me know your opinion in the comments below. What was your favorite moment or favorite episode? How would you rank it in all the Netflix shows? Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.